Tonight on the AFTERBUZZ Sports NBA Draft After Show. Lots of freshmen, lots of trades, and now LeVar Ball can finally shut up. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
The Lonzo Ball era starts, Josh.
The Lonzo Ball era begins in LA. Godspeed, Los Angeles. But we're going to break down the entire draft and all the craziness that's happened around it live here on AfterBuzzTV.com, the AfterBuzz TV YouTube page, iTunes, SoundCloud. You're liking, subscribing, telling your friends, and perhaps your enemies about the wonderful world of AfterBuzz TV and specifically AfterBuzz Sports.
Yep.
As we break down the draft. What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Tariff. Twitter is @JoshTariff. Tonight, we have a special edition of AfterBuzz Sports. It is the Josh and Josh Show.
Yes, it is.
Over to my left on the camera, to my right. Is it? Yeah. I'm so bad with directions. I don't know why I lead this show. I'm terrible with direction. @Josh_Rodriguez_. It's Josh Rodriguez.
How's it going, Josh?
What's up, sir?
Not much. My Knicks, it is what it is.
I can say the same thing about my Magic.
Yeah, you're watching two Joshes who root for teams that are terrible.
Yes, and who did terrible things tonight. But yeah, well, we know, Mike and Mike in the morning is ending soon.
Yes, that is true. So ESPN.
This is our audition right here.
This is our audition.
Josh and Josh. So, we coordinated. We both wore black T-shirts tonight.
Not on purpose. That just shows you we're on the same wavelength.
And we're both in mourning over our teams.
Yep. Destiny.
Yeah.
Destiny. Let's do this.
Well, let's kick off the top story from tonight. We're gonna have plenty of talk about top draft picks, sleepers, winners, losers. Yep. But the biggest story out of tonight was the Blockbuster trade that happened within the first few picks of the draft.
Yeah.
Between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, they got some nice pieces. They got Zach LaVine coming off an ACL injury, Chris Dunn. But he's a good player. Hopefully he comes back healthy. I'm not trying to bash him, but he is coming off a major knee injury.
He's a freak athlete.
Yeah. Zach LaVine and Chris Dunn, and they got the number 7 pick from Minnesota, which turned out to be Lauri Markkanen. Thank you.
Yep.
In exchange, Minnesota got the 16th pick, Justin Patton, a nice backup to Karl Anthony Towns. Oh, yeah, and Jimmy Butler.
Who?
Maybe the 5th best player in the NBA.
5th,
6th, he's somewhere around.
He's
there.
up there. He's definitely one of the best two-way players in the NBA. But yes, the Timberwolves obviously won this trade. When you get the best player in the trade, I think you win the trade, right?
Oh, typically, yeah. That's usually how it works.
LaVine's coming off ACL injury, and his game is based off his explosiveness, so you don't know what he's going to be coming back from injury. Chris Dunn, who I loved when he played for Providence, had an underwhelming rookie season. He's just a rookie, so he might be able to pan out. You don't know what he's going to be.
Yeah, and then you both got the rookies, which always are the great unknown.
Yeah.
Patton specifically, he ain't starting. He's going to be backing up Towns. Markkanen, he should be starting for Chicago. But here's the thing also with Butler. His contract, he's locked in for, I believe, 3 more years. Mm-hmm. He's not going anywhere.
Right.
And then you still have Towns in his rookie contract. And you got Wiggins. You have 3 guys that can average 25 points a game.
Yeah, if given their own teams, I'd agree with that. But they have to share the basketball, man.
Yeah, no, they do. But let's break it down. I'm not going to try to throw comparisons to the Warriors or anything like that because obviously we know the Warriors are in a whole different stratosphere from anyone else. But who else on Minnesota is going to score?
You know what's actually cool about Minnesota, too? They might be shipping Rubio, but Rubio's their point guard now.
Well, now that they traded both LaVine and Dunn, unless they're getting a point guard in return, Rubio ain't going anywhere.
And Rubio's the type of point guard who says, I don't need to take shots.
No, he just passes.
So he's pretty much the perfect point guard to have in this situation.
Exactly.
They kind of lucked out in that. I didn't even put that together until we just started talking.
Yeah, and to me, really, they still have dang great defensive player at the 4. Mm-hmm. You have Butler in. Maybe they have, get a specific 3-point threat. I'm not a big fan of him, but now that Nick Young's available, he could be a nice fit for them off the bench.
He's a little bit of a chuck, but he is instant offense.
But he is a veteran. And honestly, to me, right now, Minnesota is the 5 or 6 seed in the West.
Get out of here!
Absolutely,
really,
no question. They're going to leapfrog Memphis
I think Memphis still has a year or two in them with Conley and Gasol as long as they're there.
The way Portland's improving, the way Minnesota's improved, Denver's been on the way up. I think Memphis is going to be the team that gets knocked out of that usual playoff bunch.
Okay.
But I mean, Minnesota again. They're not title contenders. Like I've seen some people tweet of like, "All right, give Minnesota a ring now. They got Jimmy Butler." No, they're nowhere near that yet.
Right.
And I'll tell you, if they don't win at least 40 games this next season, Thibodeau's fired.
Already, you would fire him.
Oh well, they've already considered it so far a disappointment.
Yeah, he's a huge disappointment.
So if you bring in Butler, who has experience with Thibodeau, who, like I said, is one of the top two-way players in the NBA, and they're still under 500, no, he's gone. I think now it's a lot of pressure on Thibodeau.
There is, but at the same time, is Jimmy Butler going to make your team that much better? I mean, this team struggled defensively. I mean, that's where they were pretty bad. They could score the basketball. They could always score the basketball. They just couldn't defend. Now, Jimmy Butler is one of the best defensive players in the league, but does one defensive player make your team that much better defensively? I mean, Rubio's still a terrible defensive point guard. He's not going to be able to stop any of the point guards in the West, and the West is a gauntlet full of point guards. So, you know, how much do they really improve? I mean, don't get me wrong, I think they are better, but I still think they're a year or two away before they even make any type of noise in the Western Conference.
Well, let's put it this way. He got the Bulls into the playoffs pretty much single-handedly. Wade is not the Dwayne Wade we know. Rondo, he only plays if it's nationally televised.
Yeah, but it took the whole season. I mean, they made the playoffs on the last day of the season.
Right, but he still brought the team there, and then they fought hard with the Celtics.
Yeah.
It's pretty much solely because of him. So now you put him with a young talent. Now, I know you do switch to the West, which obviously is more difficult than the East. But with those three, I mean, that is... You talk about, like, super teams or three-headed monsters. Right off the bat, that's one of the best three-headed monsters in the league. It's just... Again, now, like, the rest of the supporting cast, that's now what they got to work on to improve. But I think this was an incredible move for the Timberwolves. Bulls, clearly, they're like, all right, it's time to start over.
Yeah.
And honestly, this trade surprised me because I feel they could have easily gotten the top 3 pick, plus some for Butler.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Why do you think they waited and then did this move?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Expert analysis there by Josh Rodriguez.
I don't know. I couldn't.
This is our ESPN audition.
Oh, audition this. I don't know what the Bulls are doing. I really don't. I mean, I think they just figured they had to get rid of Jimmy Butler somehow, and I think they probably value Chris Dunn. They look at him. I mean, I thought Chris Dunn was going to be a stud in this league, looking at how he was in Providence. He didn't turn out to be that last year. I think they're probably still high on him because you give point guards a couple years in this league. Zach LaVine, like you said, he's a freak athlete. Who knows what he could turn into? When he was healthy, he averaged about 15 plus a game. So you never really know what he's going to turn into. And maybe they're just really high in marketing it. I mean, they traded up to get him. They could have took Malik Monk, but they didn't. They had options there, but, you know, you don't know who they're high on.
Yeah. And then the two other, like, big trades as far as names that did kind of happen before tonight, but we should, you know, cover them here as well. First off, and I love how, like, the trades could not become 100% official until now.
Yeah. They announced the trade.
Why does it take so long for a trade to be official? The Brooklyn Nets receive Timothy Mozgov, all $64 million of him, and D'Angelo Russell in exchange for Brook Lopez to the Lakers and the number 27 pick, which ended up being Kyle Kuzma. Huge win for the Lakers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You get an all-star center. He only has 1 year left on his contract, so it's, if it doesn't work out, okay, you're not losing much money. If it does work out and you see the potential, then he might see it and be willing to re-sign for less if he's thinking they're going to start winning.
Right.
Now, Brooklyn does win because they need a young leader, someone to start things, and D'Angelo Russell could very well be that guy. But the fact that they were able to get rid of Mozgov's contract. They had Mozgov's terrible contract. They have Luol Deng's terrible contract.
But now they can spread his contract out.
Right. They can spread his out, and now they still have enough money for 2 max deals next season. You know, for the whole Paul George thing and rumors of LeBron, rumors of this guy, rumor of that guy. But they have the assets to do so now, and you're getting a good veteran big man to play along. I think honestly the biggest winner for the Lakers in this is Julius Randle. Because he's going to learn a lot from Lopez.
I think he's going to learn a lot from Lopez, but I don't think they're really too high on him either. I think after this year, they're just going to clean house and start over with Lonzo and maybe Brooke, depending on how they do and whether he's willing to take a pay cut or not.
I hope not.
And Paul George.
Because to me, Randall, as far as their young guys over these last few years, I feel Randall's been their most consistent.
Okay.
So I don't want him to lose him.
You know what? The Lakers' talent to me, like, they're not bad, but I don't think there's anybody who's over the top great or an all-star. Like, they drafted okay. And it's kind of left him in this, like, weird bubble where it's like, what do we do with this? Because Julius Randle is not a bad player, but he's also not someone you kind of value too much. He could be a trade piece. D'Angelo Russell was the same thing. He was okay. He's shown, signs in spurts. But, like, what do you do with that? Mark Ingram didn't really...
Well, he's only had 1 year.
Yeah.
Ingram's only had 1 year.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I don't think they've necessarily missed on their draft picks, but they haven't hit either. And I don't think they're as high on their young talent as a lot of other people are.
Well, we'll wait and see with that.
I'm sure we have Laker fans in the chat. Let me know what you think about the Lakers' young talent.
And other big trade that happened, the Atlanta Hawks received Miles Plumlee, Marco Bellinelli, and the 41st pick, which ended up being Tyler Dorsey. In return, Charlotte got Dwight Howard,
your boy,
and the 31st pick, Frank Jackson.
Do you miss him as a Magic fan?
I got to tell you, when I heard this trade happen, as an Orlando Magic fan,
yeah,
this is the happiest I have been since Orlando made the finals in 2009.
What? Why?
Because Dwight Howard was replaced in his home city by Miles Plumlee. How the mighty selfish have fallen.
Yeah. I mean, he was MVP candidate, best big man in the league, took his team to the finals.
Well, now I find it fascinating. Now I'm hearing on sports radio shows, they're questioning, do we think Dwight Howard's going to be a Hall of Famer?
I have Nick Wright of Fox Sports 1 has him in his top 50 players of all time list.
Right, and like in the first 5, 6, 7 years of his career, yeah, like you could make the argument that when it was all said and done, he was going to be there.
Yeah.
He ain't there anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And like he'd be lucky if he's in the top 200 at this point.
Yeah. How far he has fallen.
I mean,
we should have an all NBA Space Jam list, like people who were good, and not like Darren Williams at point guard.
I was
Dwight
such
Howard.
A fan of Darren Williams.
Darren Williams was my favorite player in the NBA in 2006 and 2007. I'll fully admit that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you complain in Orlando, you get shipped to LA, you complain in LA, you leave to Houston. Houston realizes you're a problem.
Yeah.
They don't resign you. You go to Atlanta, you're home, where you feel humble. They're like, Millsap's like, no, I'm gone. And they're like, okay, we're just going to send you to Charlotte for Miles Plumlee. And I'm not trying to disrespect Miles Plumlee, who's a solid NBA player.
Yeah, he's all right.
But Dwight Howard just got replaced by Miles Plumlee.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
How far they have fallen.
The devil inside me is so happy for that. The evil part of me as a bitter Orlando Magic fan was so happy for that. But so with that, then we have tonight's draft. Top 5. The 5 players that we were all expecting would go in the top 5. Some people maybe not set on this order. But we had Markelle Fultz, number 1. Which
it's as expected.
Which was expected once Philly made the trade to have the number 1 pick. And again, excellent fit with them. You suddenly you have 2 right off the bat Rookie of the Year candidates in Fultz and Simmons, because Simmons didn't play last year,
and
so
even,
he's technically a rookie.
Oh yeah, this year you're talking about. Yeah, right. That's true.
Yeah,
they might be fighting for that.
They might be fighting for Rookie of the Year.
That's crazy.
Embiid, who obviously showed great signs before he got hurt this year. Okafor.
He's going to be traded. They're going to trade him.
I want them to keep him.
They like Saric. Saric. He's a beast, man. Dario's good.
Oh, he's good, too.
Oh, he's really good. They're trading Okafor.
Yeah. What do you think they would get for Okafor?
I'm not really sure. I know who do they he was rumored to be traded to the Bulls last year. I forgot for who, but there is definitely a market for Okafor.
Oh, no. I think he's a very solid player.
I don't know. They can probably get, if I'm the Sixers, I'm getting a shooter right now. Because if Ben Simmons is going to run the point, you're going to have a bunch of people sagging off of him. And he's going to be forced to shoot the ball, but he likes to create at the same time. So you need people to kind of extend the floor. Mm-hmm. I think they need shooters.
And just move Embiid to center.
Exactly. They need a shooter. They need a knockdown shooter right now.
Yeah. Number 2 pick, Lonzo Ball.
Lonzo!
Which we all knew for the last 6 months this was going to happen.
Yep.
But it's officially happened. And LeVar Ball let us know.
He did.
He... Honestly, I feel like he chose the wrong career, because as someone...
I don't know. You're selling shoes for $500.
Well, no, I'm just talking about as someone who also works and has always followed professional wrestling.
Okay.
He would be like the greatest like heel commentator or manager, because he just doesn't care, and he just yells, doesn't care what the fans react to it. So like on that end, if this was like where him playing a bad guy, I would be a huge fan of him.
Yeah.
But this is who he actually is. And that's why I despise him.
Listen, he's a loudmouth. I don't blame you. But
He just guaranteed the Lakers are in the playoffs next year.
That's ridiculous. But I do like Lonzo Ball. I like Lonzo's game a lot. Like, a lot. I think he has incredible court vision. I think he's a phenomenal passer. He can shoot the ball. He has unlimited distance. He doesn't really have a mid-range jumper right now. I don't even know, actually, if he has a mid-range jumper. He doesn't really shoot the mid-range jumper. For him, it's either just taking it to the hoop or shooting a three. But I think his skills translate. I just think he needs to bulk up a little bit. But I love this pick. I do. Hopefully LeVar can stay out of trouble, though. Not Lonzo, but LeVar. When do we say that about a pick? Usually say, I hope he stays out of trouble. That's not him. I hope his father stays out of trouble.
He'll have his own reality show very, very soon. We know this. Jason Tatum. So it's Boston, number 3. Number 1 seed in the East. Had the number 1 pick, traded down to number 3, got more picks down the road because this is what they do, and they do it so well. Are you surprised they ended up taking Tatum over Jackson?
No, I'm not, because they need someone like Tatum to score from the wing. That's what they don't have. I mean, you have Isaiah Thomas as your point guard scoring, but they don't have a shooting guard or small forward types who can create their own shot and have instant offense. That's probably their biggest weakness on offense. So I think he fit their team better than anybody else. Josh Jackson, he's a good athlete. He's a good all-around player, but he doesn't really create his own shot. He's good off the ball. He's a good defender. He's very good physically. But I think Tatum fits their offense better, and I think he's kind of like a mellow type where he can create his own shot and doesn't really need anybody else to do it for him. I think he just fits their offense.
Yeah, I mean, to me personally, I feel Josh Jackson is the best all-around player in this draft. But Tatum, like you were saying, is a better fit for Boston.
Yes.
Because of what you're saying, he creates his own shot. Now they can do lineups where they would move Crowder to the 4 and Horford at the 5, so you kind of have that smaller lineup to keep with the speed, and all 5 of those guys can shoot from anywhere on the court.
Yeah.
So I think it's an excellent fit for Boston.
I agree.
And likewise with Phoenix, I think they got a gold mine in Josh Jackson now.
Yeah.
You put him with Booker and maybe Bledsoe if they're keeping him, and to me, Josh Jackson reminds me of Kawhi. The way he played, the way I watched him in the tournament. He, to me, feels like here's a guy that can do some of everything. His shooting is going to improve. He's an excellent defender. He's a great passer. He's got a good wingspan for rebounds for a guy his size. I think it's going to be a really good breath of fresh air for Phoenix, and now they're going to be starting to make the right moves.
Yeah, I mean, they have Devin Booker, who's going to be a superstar in this league, and I think Josh Jackson, like you said, he fits their team very well because he doesn't need the ball. You have Devin Booker, who pretty much needs the ball. I think Bledsoe, too, right now. They have him for now. I think they're looking to get rid of him, but he also needs the ball. So the more people you can get who don't need the ball, that's a great thing. On top of that, he's a very physical defender, and he's going to help them on defense. So I think that, all in all, he's, like I said, like Tatum fit the Celtics, and I think Suns did a good thing. I think I would have taken De'Aaron Fox if I'm going to start a team, because I'm just a big point guard guy.
Sure.
But I think they did the right thing for their team, because I'm not sure if Booker and Fox would have been able to coexist.
Who's going to have more wins next year, Phoenix or the Lakers?
Lakers.
Really?
Yes.
See, I think Phoenix.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Brook Lopez is no joke.
No, he's not.
He was hiding out in Brooklyn. I mean, he's hurt every once in a while, but he's one of the best big men in the league. He can shoot the 3. He can score 20 a night if he's engaged. I mean, he should be getting more rebounds than he does, but they have one of the best big men in the league. I think Lonzo's going to be very good. I'm not saying great right off the bat. He's going to be very good. I think they're going to be fine. I think Lakers, Julius Randle's going to take a step forward. You like him?
I do like him. No, I do like Randle.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I like what the Lakers are doing. Honestly, so far, Magic Johnson, I feel he's done a good job with some of these first moves that he's done between the draft and that trade with Russell. I think he's starting on the right path in the rebuild. And then you're talking about a point guard to take over a team.
Yeah.
And lead a team. De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento.
Love him.
Sacramento, I know they have Buddy Hield. That's about all that's the only player I know. And
Darren Collison, who's pretty much just...
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's there.
He's like the bridge to...
What was that guy's name? He's got a long hyphenated name. He's a bigger guy.
Oh, Cauley-Stein.
Thank you, Willie Cauley-Stein.
Yeah.
That's all I know on Sacramento.
Yeah.
So now you got De'Aaron Fox. Now you got a playmaker. Now you got a facilitator. To me, I'm reminded of Derrick Rose when I watch De'Aaron Fox.
Really?
As far as that aggression.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he can get to the rim at will.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying about that.
Yeah.
He reminds me of a John Wall type, and I know that D'Angelo, who's also a host here, he thinks the same thing as a Wizards fan, because he's just so quick. I think he's a great distributor. He can get to the rim at any point, and another reason why he reminds me of John Wall is because he doesn't have a developed jump shot yet. He's a terrible shooter from the perimeter right now. I think he shot like 20-something% from three, which is awful. Which means he's not going to be shooting three ball in the NBA, because if he can't even hit the three ball in college, he's not hitting it, moving back a little bit. So he does need to work on that in this game, but I do think he can run an offense. I think he's very quick. I think he's very fast. I think he's very smart, very creative. And I think the Sacramento Kings got a good one in Fox. And CJ Houston in the chat just says Fox equals bust.
What?
Oh, CJ Houston.
I mean, everyone who goes to Sacramento, you feel like end up being a bust. But, I mean, hopefully, for the sake of that franchise, because we know they got nothing else going, hopefully this starts to turn it around.
I think it will. And then Sam Nelson in the chat, what's up? He says Fox and Hield are going to dominate, plus Willie Cauley-Stein, the other big guy that came out of nowhere last year. Young and So Bright says Fox going to kill. So CJ Houston added he can't shoot for his reason why he thinks he's going to be a bust. And you're right, CJ. He can't shoot right now, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to be able to shoot later on. And look at someone like John Wall. I wouldn't consider John Wall a great shooter, but he has improved enough to the point where you have to respect his jump shot, and that's all Fox has to do.
So that rounds out the top five. Then kind of like branching out for the 6 through 10. Number 6, Orlando took Jonathan Isaac.
How you feel? Go ahead. Come on. You can't just buy that. You're a Magic fan.
So with the 7th pick, we already went on that. Here's my thing. I think Jonathan Isaac is a great player, and I think he's going to be a very good player in the NBA.
Okay.
Orlando was 29th out of 30 in three-point shooting last season.
So you wanted a shooter.
We desperately need points. We have a ton of size. We can rebound, but we need shooters, and specifically three-point. To me, this was the perfect spot for either Dennis Smith or, more importantly, Malik Monk.
Okay.
Because, to me, Alfred is not working out for that team. They could still trade him, get something decent for him. So if you wanted to go Smith, or if you really feel that Alfred needs another year, then keep him and you get Monk and you move 48 to the 3. And then, again, you kind of have the smaller ball. You've got your three-point shooter. It's going to start in the right direction. The one position we're set in was the 4 spot with Aaron Gordon.
Yes.
And he just finally started playing the 4 because he was playing the 3 since we brought Ibaka. And we draft someone who plays the same position as Aaron Gordon. Now, they're probably going to play Isaac at the 3. But then, again, now we're back to this 3 big guys, where in today's NBA, that's not working.
Right.
So that's my big concern. Plus, it might also give less minutes to one or the other, because if they realize it's not working, they throw Terrence Rawson at the 3, and then they move one of them to the 4. Someone's sitting.
Right.
So that could make an unhappy Aaron Gordon or an unhappy Jonathan Isaac. So we have a new GM. Obviously, he did a great job in Milwaukee, John Hammond.
Yeah.
He's big on finding guys with wingspans. I mean, Isaac certainly has that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to accept it and trust it, but this is like the last position that I felt we needed.
Yeah, but I do think Jonathan Isaac's going to be a good pro. I do feel for what you're saying, though, because we talked about the Celtics drafting for a team need. We talked about the Suns drafting for a team need, and it seems like the Magic just kind of went best player available.
Yeah.
But I think you could probably make a case that, Monk might be better than Isaac. Would you say so? I mean, he's a better offensive player.
He's definitely a better scorer.
Yeah. So, I mean, according to you, which I'm going to trust you with your team, I don't watch too much Magic basketball.
Not many people do.
They didn't draft to their need.
No. Laurie Markkanen, we already talked about earlier. I'm going to let you pronounce your 8 picks for your Knicks on their
Frank.
draft pick.
We're just
Go ahead.
No.
Sound it out.
Let me get the spelling here. Here we go.
Well, this should be a spelling bee question.
Here we go.
All right.
Frank Ntilikina.
I think that's close enough.
All right. I got to get used to it. It took me a while to learn Porzingis, and by a while I meant like a couple days, but
So you do have Derrick Rose.
no, he's gone.
Is he definitely
Yeah,
gone?
it was a 1-year contract.
I thought he was planning on staying. I thought he was
I
saying
hope he's not planning on staying.
All right,
Please don't
Well,
stay,
regardless,
Derek.
you definitely needed a guard, whether it was point or shooting guard.
Yes.
Dennis Smith was still available. Malik Monk, like we just talked about, was available.
Right.
Tell me about this guy, because I know nothing about him.
All right, I've only seen tapes of him. Obviously, he's from France, so I'm not going to watch any Euro basketball and evaluate his game that way. The only things that I've seen of him are highlight tapes, and I've liked what I've seen. He seems to be a very smart basketball player, high IQ, makes the right pass, takes good shots. I mean, you can tell whether or not someone takes good shots within the offense in their highlight tape. I mean, someone like Jason Tatum, who we just praised, but I'm not a fan of Jason Tatum because I've watched him at Duke, and a lot of his stuff is isolation, fade away with like 12 seconds left on the shot clock with two people on you, not in the flow of the offense. With Frank, I feel like based off of his highlights tape, again, I haven't seen any of him like in real basketball time or whatever. He seems like someone who takes smart shots, who makes the right pass all the time, doesn't really turn the ball over, and who's always under control. And that is very, very important to me when it comes to a point guard. Like, you have to be high IQ. And
sure.
I feel like just by judging by his highlights, once again, like, it's hard to judge a player when you don't see them play a game. Mm-hmm. You're just seeing all the good stuff. But just based off his highlights, I think he seems like he has a high IQ. He seems like he knows how to pass the ball. He seems like he knows what a point guard is supposed to do. And, you know, he's 6'5". He looks kind of more lanky than that. He looks like he has a bigger wingspan. I like him. The problem I have is that I think Phil Jackson picked him because he thinks that he fits the triangle.
Right.
Not so much because he likes him as a player, which kind of bothers me because the triangle's so outdated. We need to stop this. Phil Jackson, please. James Dolan, please just fire the man already. This is ridiculous. He was thinking about trading KP. How do you think about trading KP? The only one asset that we have as a Knick organization. You want to trade him away? For what?
Hey,
Why? Why?
Josh,
sorry.
Breathe.
Sorry.
Breathe.
Sorry. Sorry.
But yeah, that makes no sense. I don't want to trade Porzingis at all. That's the only good thing Phil Jackson has done since he's
literally
had
the
that
only thing
role.
he's done. Everything else he's messed up.
Yep.
Literally every free agent he signed, Joakim Noah has been a bust. Derrick Rose was a bust. Courtney Lee didn't have a good season. You re-signed Carmelo Anthony when you shouldn't have re-signed him. Everything he has done has been awful. Literally crap. And now he's turning off Porzingis. Porzingis doesn't even want to be a Knick right now. I'm a Knick fan. It hurts me. It hurts my soul to know that, to say that.
Then the last few picks are then what I considered steals because to me these players should have been drafted a little higher up than they were. Dennis Smith going number 9 to Dallas.
Yeah.
Zach Collins was in Sacramento, but then with a trade he ended up going to Portland.
Interesting.
Which is an interesting spot because what's the name? Thank you, Nurkic. So they got Nurkic. They have Collins. So one of them maybe they'll do 2 bigs or they have one back up the other. And then Malik Monk, who we talked about in Charlotte, which, again, I think is him and Kemba Walker in the backcourt is fun.
Yeah. I think this is a great pick for Charlotte.
Yeah.
An awesome pick for Charlotte. You're going to have... Listen, I think Dwight Howard, we kind of trashed him earlier, but I think he can fit into a team in the right situation, and I don't mind him on the Charlotte team. Now you have Monk and Kemba in the backcourt. I think this Charlotte team is going to make the playoffs next year.
Well, he could. I mean...
They were only 1 year removed.
Right.
So it's not that big of a claim to say that, but I do like what Charlotte's doing.
Yeah. Was there anyone that surprised you as far as how far they dropped? Or was there someone that you felt was like, oh, I can't believe they found this guy. He was still available, and they're going to just swipe him right off.
I am surprised that Monk dropped to 11.
Yep.
I'm very surprised. I think your Magic could have took him, like you said before. Mm-hmm. I think the Knicks could have taken him.
Yep.
I'm not sure that I wanted Monk, but if they would have taken him, I'd have been like, okay, I understand. So I'm surprised that he fell to 11. Not really, to be honest with you. Everybody else, it kind of went. I won't say chalk, but not too many big surprises. I mean, there's some surprises in the second round. Like I'm a huge Monty Morris fan.
Yeah.
And he went like 51 to Denver. And to me, like I said,
he's going to get minutes there.
That's what I'm saying. And like if you know me, like I say all the time, like I value point guards who are high IQ, don't turn the ball over, get other people involved, and he's done that better than any point guard in the country for the past 20 years. He had the highest assist to turnover ratio in the country.
Yep.
So it's like, how is this guy falling to 51? It makes no sense. I mean, if you value the ball, if you value a point guard who makes people better, he did it better than anybody in the past 20 years. I'm not saying he's the best point guard in the draft, but to go 51, are you kidding me? That's insane. I think Denver got a steal with him.
Yeah. Also, now this was just, I think Sacramento did one of the best drafts tonight, but they had one head-scratching move to me, which was when they drafted Frank Mason. Because Frank Mason should not have fallen first off to the 34th pick. This guy should have been high as well.
Yeah.
Because this was the player of the year.
Yeah. And it's the same thing that I just said, basically, about, you know,
He won the Wooden Award this past year. And you draft him to back up De'Aaron Fox.
Right.
So, to me, I don't know if they're just trying to load this up for a possible trade bait, because to me, Frank Mason could very well be a starting point guard somewhere.
Well, he's small. That's the knock on him.
He is small. He is small.
That's the knock on him.
He's 5'11".
Yeah. But yeah, if you figure play of the year, like, you can't.
Yeah.
You're going to pass on him 33 times?
Yeah.
CJ Houston in the chat says Jordan Bell from Oregon. I completely agree with you on that as well. Jordan Bell got hurt. I think, he's the one who got hurt. Big man from Oregon. On the Warriors, I believe. I think he got traded to the Warriors for some cash, if I am not mistaken, chat.
I believe you're right on that.
Yeah.
And then to me, and there was only one big guy that I was hoping Orlando would get to come off the bench. We didn't get him. And to me, when I was watching the NCAA tournament, as good as Ball was, as good as Fox was, as good as Monk was, as good as Jackson was, the guy that stood out the most to me was Caleb Swanigan.
Yes, from Purdue.
Purdue.
He's a beast.
He is Ben Wallace with a jump shot.
I like that.
No, because he just pounds it inside, gets rebounds, blocks, and can hit the jumper. And he ended up at number 26 to Portland. Portland, we were talking about Minnesota before. Portland is going to skyrocket this next season.
Yeah.
Between Lillard, McCollum, Collins now, with, guys, I always forget his name.
Nurkic.
Center. Thank you, Nurkic. Now you have Swanigan, so you can kind of rotate those guys. You still have the money to potentially get Millsap, too, if you want in free agency. You still got guys like Harkless and Caffey. What was the three-point shooter?
For who?
For Portland. That came off the bench.
Crabtree?
Crab.
Alan Crabtree. Sorry.
I apologize. So I think Portland is really developing into a deep, deep team that's young. And I would not be surprised if Swanigan, at some point in the season, suddenly takes over a starting role on Portland.
Really?
Yeah, because I think he's that good.
I think he's that good too, but he probably would have to take Nurkic's spot, and I don't see that happening because Nurkic literally turned their season around.
Or he starts at the 4, and you have Collins come off the bench.
Okay.
Because they list him as a 4, even though he can play both.
Yeah.
So I think that is a steal for Portland. I am super jealous of Portland for Swanigan. So like overall, who do you think are biggest winners and losers tonight?
I mean, you got to go probably with the T-Wolves, the biggest winners. I mean, even though they didn't draft anyone significant, you got Jimmy Butler tonight. Mm-hmm. So are any of these players that were just drafted better than Jimmy Butler? We don't know, but we do know for sure what Jimmy Butler is in this league. And I think out of everybody, they made their team significantly better than anybody else. So I'm saying the T-Wolves. I know it's the easy answer, but side note, I also like what the Jazz did.
Yep.
Donovan Mitchell, getting them from Denver. They traded Denver. Mm-hmm. And then they got Tony Bradley from UNC.
Yes, that's a nice
yeah, so they got defensive-minded, both sides of the ball players, and I think Utah, they might lose Gordon Hayward. Who knows? I think George Hill might leave as well, so we'll see. But I like what Utah did as well, and Sacramento.
Yeah, Sacramento, I can't believe I'm saying Sacramento winner in the same sentence. But Sacramento, I thought, did great. So they had 3 first-round picks, all of which I feel are solid between Fox, Justin Jackson, Harry Giles, and also, I mean, like I was saying before with Josh Jackson, I think that alone makes Phoenix a winner because I think he's such a complete player. Biggest losers to me, it's got to be Chicago.
Yeah, that's CJ Houston in the chat. Just said Bulls the biggest loser.
It's got to be them. I mean, you gave up your best player by far.
Yeah,
your best player for a decent guard, a guard who can be good, but he's coming off ACL injury, so who knows what he's going to be. I mean, I really don't get this move. They could have got so much more for Jimmy Butler than they did.
I agree. I think they might have panicked. You know, the draft's coming up. Maybe like marking it a lot. I don't know. I can't really explain anything else, but I don't know. Just bad management. The chat says that the Nets also lost the draft.
Well, the Nets have lost the draft since 2013.
What's up, D'Angelo? D'Angelo says the Wolves were winners.
Well, yeah, they're definitely
CJ
winners.
Houston, Wolves.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the Wolves at the end of the day are the biggest winners.
And Lakers are winners. We're in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
West Coast is up.
Yeah.
But I would say
Clippers are not. Clippers did like nothing tonight. Did they have any draft picks tonight?
I think they ended up picking up. They traded for someone who I liked. Let me go look. I'll look it up.
Okay.
I think they got someone who I liked from what I remember.
Oh. And then I'm sorry, but your Knicks to me are definitely a loser tonight. I mean, my Magic are a loser too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the Knicks had so many other pieces to try to make Porzingis happy, and to me, they did not fill any of those.
They need to get rid of Melo. They have to get rid of Melo, and they need to get their assets from that trade.
And they could have done that tonight. They could have got. You could have easily got another top 10 pick for Melo.
Yeah.
Why didn't you?
I don't know. Clippers got Sindarius Thornwell from South Carolina. That's who they got.
Oh, okay.
So yes,
that's a good.
I actually think that's a very good pick.
So I mean that just about wraps up our coverage here. Yeah. Unless was there any other news or anything that you had opinions on any of these picks? That
not really. I think this was a very deep class.
Yes.
I think Fultz is going to be good. I like Lonzo a lot. So Laker fans, you can rejoice. I'm not so sold on Tatum. I think he takes some crazy shots sometimes, but I do think if there's any team, any coach that can help him, it's Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics. I'm anxious to see, what comes out of this draft. I think this is going to be looked at as a class that, doesn't produce too many superstars like the 03 draft with like LeBron and Bosh and Wade in them, but we look back at it like, wow, there were some solid players in this draft. So
yeah, I mean, I think, the guys that have the best chance of being all-stars from this draft are Jackson and Fox.
Fox. Oh, wow. No Fultz?
I mean, I think he certainly has a chance, but I feel like it's going to be more Ben Simmons' team than Fultz's team.
Okay.
And which is not a bad thing. It's just a matter of them playing together with that. Meanwhile, Jackson and Fox, I think they're both. Well, Fox is definitely the guy in Sacramento. As good as Booker is, I think Jackson is going to turn into the guy.
Really?
In Phoenix.
Like the go-to option type thing, though?
Yeah, not necessarily game 1, season 1.
Yeah.
But he's I mean, like just like kind of Kawhi in San Antonio, where he was around, and then all of a sudden, okay, now for like the last shot, we're gonna start passing it to him.
Really?
And I really think that's gonna be with Josh Jackson.
Booker's cold-blooded, man.
Oh, he is. which is why I think Phoenix is really on the right track to have both of them.
You're really high in the Suns right now.
I mean, they're not going to do anything special next season.
Right.
But they're definitely. I think Phoenix could. How many wins did they have last season? I don't know.
I don't remember.
Not many.
And also the Kings. Justin Jackson was traded to the Kings. That's who I was forgetting about. Justin Jackson from UNC, ACC Player of the Year. So
I mean,
Kings.
Kings
Look at the Kings.
Look at you, Vlade.
Vlade Divac.
You did some good stuff tonight.
We think. Well, this is all speculation.
On paper, you did some good stuff tonight. So we'll see how all that unfolds. And
wait, hold on. Who do you think is gonna be Rookie of the Year?
Oh wow. Oh. Rookie of the Year. So based on the class, based on who everyone's playing with, I'll go Fox. I'm gonna go Fox.
I think Fox is in the best position to be Rookie of the Year. I agree.
Yeah.
But I also think Fultz is as well.
But Fultz will be competing with Simmons because Simmons technically he didn't play a single game last year, so he can also.
That's true. They might cancel each other out.
Right.
I think Lonzo can be Rookie of the Year. He's going to get
certainly popular.
He's going to get the keys.
He's going to have spotlight all over him.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say De'Aaron Fox as well, man.
There it is.
Just because of the situation, though, not because I think he's the best player.
No, it's because our names are Josh and we both wore black shirts.
We're on the same page.
We're on the same page. We want to know who you think, based on where they ended up, has the potential to be Rookie of the Year.
We got Andrews coming in already. Lonzo, Josh Jackson, Russell Westbrook 2.0.
I don't know if I call him Westbrook, but
yeah,
he's high on Josh Jackson.
Dennis Smith is more like Russell Westbrook to me.
Yeah, he's more of
a freak athlete.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
So we'll see how all that ends up. You can leave us comments on the YouTube page as well as our iTunes page. Make sure you leave comments on that. But in the meantime, Josh, I can reach out to you.
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Josh_Rodriguez_. Also, download the Anchor app, then follow 10-Minute Drill in the sports section. Me and AJ Kelly, we do our own sports podcast. We take phone calls. We answer the phone calls. It's a good time. I know everybody in the chat loves debating sports. You can debate with me on Anchor at 10-Minute Drill.
But you'll probably lose the debate.
Yeah.
Because he has control.
You probably.
So if you're making a good point, he might just hang up on you. But still do it. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Josh Tariff. And just start getting ready for you fantasy football nuts.
Yes.
Because Josh and I got some fun fantasy football things in the very near future here at AfterBuzz Sports.
I also want to plug one more thing. I'm sorry.
You've already your turn's over. Turn's over.
We do it. Actually, D'Angelo's still in chat. Me, D'Angelo, and Jill Monroe. We do a Drew League special. We cover the Drew League here in Compton, and we go to the games. We do interviews and all that good stuff. And follow us on Tuesdays at 10.
There you go. And for all your other AfterBuzz TV news and gossip, follow them on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. And AfterBuzz Sports is on Twitter now. Is it at AfterBuzz Sports?
At ABTV Sports.
Okay, ABTV Sports.
It's been on the lower third the whole time, so just look at the lower third, you'll see it.
But for those of you listening that aren't watching anything, at ABTV Sports. So thanks so much for tuning in this week. For Josh Rodriguez, I'm Josh Tariff. Hope you enjoyed the draft. We'll see you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.